Hi guys, welcome back to Future Dimensions 360. As you know, in our last tutorial, we had learned about use ref. What we have done is we had stored a DOM node into use ref hook, and what we have done there is we had focused our DOM input element by using use ref hook. In today's tutorial, we will be learning how to store mutable value in useRef hook and how we can perform any kind of functionality on mutable value using useRef hook. One thing I want to add here is that useRef hook have a great ability in which you can take advantage of re-rendering. Useref hook helps you to not re-render the component in case of any value changes in the mutable value state that is saved inside useRef hook. So let's go ahead and try to implement an interval by using component, functional component and useEffect hook. We will be creating a counter that will be incrementing on every second by using interval. How? Let's go to components folder and try to create a new file called counterinterval.js. RFCE React functional component we had created. Inside this one, what I have to do here is I have to create a state that will store my counter value. I'll say const counter and set counter, simple initial state by using useState hook, and initial value will be 0. Secondly, what I have to do here is use a fact hook. Inside that one, I will be passing a callback. Secondly, I want this useEffect hook to be run one time. What I want here is I want to create an interval of increment counter in the mounting phase, and in the unmounting phase I want to clear that interval. How can I do that is, for example, I'll say const interval equals to set interval. Inside set interval I will be passing a callback, and the second parameter will be 1 corresponding to 30. That will allow me to call this callback in each single second. How can I do that? We can do that by passing a callback, and this callback will contain our basic logic of incrementing the counter. How? Let's say set counter equals to previous counter, and then previous counter will equals to previous counter plus 1. So let's hit save. This is the mounting phase that is implemented already. What I have to do here is in H6 I will say counter equals to counter. Let's hit save. Try to import it in our app.js file. I'll say interval counter counter interval. That's it. Let's hit save and go to our browser. You guys can see the counter value is incrementing in each second. So what I have to do here is I have to clear that counter in unmounting phase. How can I do that is I will pass a return function with the callback that will help me to clear the counter. Which counter? I will say clear interval and the interval that I had saved already. This is what is the actual scenario. Let's hit save and go to our browser and let's reload it. This is how we can implement the counter by using interval. So now what we are learning here in this tutorial is use ref hook. As I told you guys at the beginning of the tutorial, that the great ability of use ref hook is not only to store the DOM node. It can store the mutable value as well. What is the mutable value? The value that is the return for this set interval function can be stored inside the useRef hook. Why? For example, I have another requirement in the same function, in the same element, that is I have to pass a button called clear interval. What I have to do here is I have to clear the interval on click of this button. How can I do that? Is by passing a callback clear interval, and I have to pass the interval that I had saved here already. So once I will hit save, I'll go to my browser. You guys can see interval is not defined. Why? Because this variable is is declared within this scope only. Like I can access this variable within the callback of use effect hook only. How can I access it outside the use effect hook? Here I can take an advantage of use ref hook. How? I have to import useRef hook here. I'll declare useRef hook. Like initiate it, I will say interval count equals to useRef. The initial value I'll pass it as null, and I'll say instead of this, instead of creating new variable inside the effect hook, I will pass this returned value of useRef hook by passing interval counter.current. So interval counter.current saved my set interval returns that I can pass here for the clear and here as well. Let's hit save and go to our browser and let's see if it's worked fine or no. You guys can see my counter is working perfectly. It's getting incremented until 6, 7. As soon as I will click on clear interval, now you guys can see my interval is clear already and the counter value is not getting incremented. This is how you can save the mutable values inside useRef hook. Two things useRef hook can save. One thing is DOM node, like any JSX element, the reference of that. And second thing is you can pass the mutable value as well, like set time interval, set time out, these kind of functions or built-in functions, those as well. I hope you guys understand it in detail. In case of any question, any query, you can comment us in the same video. You can reach us in our mailbox as well. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. Thank you. Goodbye.